Greetings from today's podcast episode, a site dedicated to bringing well-known literacy figures from pages into dialogue. I'm Samuel, your host. Today's guest is a girl who grew up in the segregated Alabama hamlet of Macomb, whose tale many of us first heard in high school. Back then, you knew her as the tomboy who was daring, inquisitive, and fiercely devoted. However, we're talking to Louise Finch today, or Scout, as we still affectionately refer to her. Thank you for coming, Scout.
I'm grateful, Samuel. Being here discussing a period of my life still feels both far away and remarkably close. It's a little odd.
Let's revisit those formative years. At the time of To Kill a Mockingbird, you were a young child. What memories do you have of your younger self?
I believe I was crazy, both positively and negatively. I questioned everything, loved to read, and detest clothing. I loved my father, Atticus, and I admired my brother, Jem. I was unaware at the time of how unusual our household was, particularly in a community like Macomb. I was usually engaged in some kind of conflict, inquiry, or adventure.
The trial of Tom Robinson marked a significant turning point in your early years. Despite your youth, it had a profound effect on you. Could you elaborate on how it influenced you?
For me, it truly opened up a world. Even though I was ignorant to all the legal nuances, I could tell that Tom was innocent because of Atticus's tenacious defense. He still lost, though I became aware of how incredibly unfair the world might be after hearing the murmurs behind our backs and seeing the hatreds on people's faces. That experience forced me to mature quickly. It helped me realize that justice and the law aren't necessarily synonymous.
Was it difficult to come to terms with the fact that your father did everything right but still lost?
Of course, it made me question what I believed should happen, which is that everything will work out if you're good and honest. However, Macomb was not prepared to accept a black man as an equal. Nevertheless, I learned about true courage by seeing Atticus defend Tom, even though the town would despise him for it. Quiet. Quiet. Of course, it made me question what I believe should happen, which is that everything will work out if you're good and honest. However, Macomb was not prepared to accept a black man as an equal. Nevertheless, I learned about true courage seeing Atticus defend Tom even though the town would despise him for it. Quiet, consistent courage. Not loud, showy courage. The type that persists even when it's aware it may lose.
Let's discuss Boo Radley. You and Jem were enamored with him when you were kids. What was your impression of Boo following the night that he came to your rescue?
To be honest, I felt embarrassed. We conjured up a variety of tales about Boo, treating him like a monster or ghost. However, he simply felt lonely, kind, and he put everything on the line to keep us safe. It struck me that evening as I stood up on his porch and observed the street from his perspective. As Atticus used to say, you can't truly comprehend someone until you put yourself in their shoes and move around in their shoes. And at last, I understood. Boo wasn't weird. We simply couldn't see him because we were blind.
That scene in the book is really potent. Has Macomb altered since then, in your opinion?
To a certain extent. However, especially in places that change is sluggish, even when custom has its roots in discrimination, people tend to cling to it. However, I've noticed a few signs of progress. Younger generations are pushing back and asking questions. And I believe that individuals who lead by example, like Atticus, help sow those seeds.
What impact did those early encounters have on your current self?
I'm glad that they caused me to reevaluate everything. I've come to realize that I shouldn't assume anything. I've improved my listening skills, even if I get upset over injustice. I make an effort to start by showing empathy. I've experienced my share of frustration and rage, but Atticus taught me to consider both viewpoints, even when they're hard.
In retrospect, what do you believe to be the most significant lesson you've learned as a child?
That individuals are rarely one thing. Even good individuals sometimes make bad decisions and frequently learn from most people that we mistrust or misunderstand. We can improve the world a little bit if we continue to be inquisitive and caring and speak up when it's necessary.
Well said. Do you believe that your current self would make young Scout proud?
She would probably be shocked if I ever voluntarily donned a dress. However, I believe that she would be pleased that I continued to ask questions, that I still think I should be fair, and that I never lost sight of the world as something that may be better.
One final question. What would you say if you could have a conversation with Boone Bradley or Tom Robinson right now?
I'm sorry. I would say to Tom, I apologize for how the world let you down. And to Boo, I would simply say thank you. Not only did you save us, but you also reminded me that good deeds are not worthy of praise. That something keeps silent while still acting morally is the most brave thing you can do.
I appreciate you sharing your tale with us, Scout Finch. Hearing your voice again has been an honor.
Samuel, thank you. Being heard and remembered means a lot.
That was Harper Lee's Jean Louise Finch, reflecting on the events that motivated her to kill a mockingbird. Her experience serves as a reminder that empathy, challenge, and the decision to see humanity in others, even in the face of adversity, are keys to growth. We appreciate your participation in Fiction's Reflections. We'll be talking with another literacy voice